Thanks for staying with us. Now, menstrual hygiene is a hygienic practice during menstruation which can prevent women from infection in the reproductive and urinary tract. Now, hygiene-related practices of women during menstruations are of considerable importance as it may increase vulnerability to reproductive tract infection. Now, some tips to help maintain menstrual hygiene include changing your pad every 4 hours. If you use sanitary pads to soak the flow during your periods, remember to change it often. Now, clean your reusable pads properly if that's what you use, and also you can keep your vaginal area clean. Never use 2 pads simultaneously. Always wear comfortable and clean underwear. Now, all these are nice tips to note, but sadly, so many young girls and women have real struggles and beliefs that are disempowering. Some myths that are disempowering to them about menstruation, and that's why we're talking about this conversation today. So, if you know anyone or you are a woman struggling, this is for you. So, let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So, because we have a guest in the house, we're going to give her the floor to set the conversation, to set the foundation of the conversation. So tell us, first of all, why do we in this 21st century, we still have, when I heard some stories, because I know a lady that does, she uses charcoal to make sanitary pads. Yeah, reusable. So you wash it and you reuse it. When she started telling me the stories, how she goes to IDP camps, so she's looking for people to support and all of that. When she told me some stories, I said, is a lie. How, as far as people using leaf as whatever, I'm wondering, and this, how much is a sanitary pad? So maybe you should just help us break down what these struggles are when it comes to menstrual cycle.
Okay, first of all, there's a lot of poverty in the land. So I'm just going to read the stats so we get a clear picture of how really dire this is. We have more than 83 million people living below the poverty line in Nigeria. And so menstrual products are a luxury that many can't afford, many women and girls. Now, the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Anike-Ade had stated recently that 39 million people could pass on as an added number to 30 million individuals rendered poor in 2020 as a result of the COVID pandemic.
Wow.
Now, approximately 1.2 billion women across the world do not have sufficient access to these menstruation sanitation products we're talking about. And then which means that there's what's called period poverty. And what is period poverty? It occurs when someone can't afford proper menstrual hygiene products, including tampons and sanitary pads, and if you like, menstrual cups. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria, but if you're looking at Africa and the stats about poverty and how many more people are getting into poverty by the day, then you know that it is dire, it is grave. Our women, our children, especially our girls in schools, school-aged children are struggling with properly maintaining hygiene during their periods. As you've said, some use leaves, some use foams. They cut foams from the bed or from the chair, and then some use wrappers,
they use
old
clothes,
wrappers.
I know of that one, but I've never heard of foams or
leaves. They use foams and leaves, some use cotton wool, all kinds of things. Yeah, tissue paper and all of that, which is really not hygienic. And later in life, some of our people get some form of disease or the other. And then the stigma, the sense of how it affects your sense of personhood when you know that dignity that should come with being a woman and having the right materials to maintain your menstruation is not there. You feel less of a woman. You do not have that confidence. You can't, most times, can't even face people to talk, because you feel, to interact. To interact with people because you feel that you're not
properly kept.
Yeah,
I mean, when she was even telling me, she told me things like girls are not able to go to school. Once their period starts, they will just rather stay home. So they miss exams. So if it's exam period and exam time and the period comes, they just say, you know what, I'd rather stay home. So they are deprived of schooling just because they are, so I was not wondering, like,
if it ends there, it would have been nice. It would have been okay. But you see, once a girl misses school this month, 2 months after she misses school, another month she misses school, at some point she's not even going to bother anymore.
She's not interested anymore.
She'll just say, look, you know, can we do something else? And so we continue to have girls out of school, that's out of school children. Then the population of such children increases. And then if you look at the women, you know, the 21st century, we can't afford to have women who are not empowered. And how can you be empowered if you're not educated, if you do not have the right skills? So what I and my friends in the media are saying now is, look, can we provide sanitary pads for girls in, you know, junior secondary schools and senior secondary schools?
That sounds like a project we'd like to take on.
You know, because
it's a major concern. I remember when we were in secondary school and a bunch of us used to use clothing, you know, and tissue. It depends on the kind of secondary school you go to. You would find, I remember there was a particular lady, you could tell because she was a house help. So the last thing she can afford is a sanitary pad. Then fortunately for me, I didn't get to start this cycle pretty early. I started really late. A couple of my friends were already on and I was just watching them like, sorry, how do you guys handle this stuff? Anyways, but I remember this particular girl, her name was Rashida. And she would be really, just like when you talked about girls becoming uncomfortable and unable to come to school, I can relate firsthand because I used to observe her during the time. She would have a uniform a bit too bulky because of the layering of old clothes that she's packed her underneath with in order to collect her period cycle, you know. And I know that whenever she's on, she's very, very withdrawn and she keeps away from everybody else. And I noticed that because whenever I use her, I'm like, why are you not relating? And they say, I don't feel like. And then I check her. And then you can't even touch them. There's a way they just withdraw the moment you try to touch them because there is a bit of psychological distress to that. I'd never really looked at it from the larger space. When I looked at this topic, I thought we were going to be talking about the adult, but now that we've taken it down to the people that are underserved, it's a really major concern that we should look at taking up after this discussion.
The conversation,
And then if you look at the myths surrounding menstruation as well, in some homes, in some religions, if you're menstruating, you're not supposed to touch anything, you're unclean. You know, you can't cook for the family, you're separated from the family. Actually, in some cultures and in some areas, you live in a hut. They take you there and they push food to you, they push everything to you.
At this modern time
and age? Yes, in some countries. And then if you look at I don't know if you've watched the movie Padman.
Not yet.
I haven't seen it.
You should go watch the movie Padman. In Padman, you see it's Indian. It's an Indian Bollywood movie. You see that when the man's wife, I'm smiling, when the man's wife started menstruating, they had to separate her, and the man didn't really find it funny. Like, well, what's going on here? Why this? So this man, you know, swam against the tide. Why are we always doing it? Why can't we? And then this idea of washing, using clothes and washing and sun drying. In fact, a lot of people can't sun dry because it's not something you want to put in the public
space.
Yeah, so you find molds on them. Again, they're exposed.
And they reuse them.
Yeah, so there's molds,
What else is coming?
I like that you've gotten to the stigma part. I think that's where the myth comes from as well. A lot of stigma around it, and I'm happy we're having this conversation because I've sort of done a bit in terms of making people comfortable to have the conversation, because one of the reasons a girl child would also not have to drop out from school, this is not talking about the fact that they don't have the product now, is because they also cannot communicate to the teacher or anybody in charge that this is the reason. It's a case of you're not coming to school, you're not serious, why are you doing it? And nobody can say anything because they don't want to say this is what it is. Even bringing it back up to like you were saying, people that can afford sanitary pad. when a person sees you with a sanitary pad, it's like,
there's a bit of it.
I was going to bring
There's a bit of it.
I'm like, why do I
We
have
literally have to hide it to use.
You have to hide it to use it.
Even
And
amongst us adults.
it is sad because now
interesting.
that we're getting deeper and we're talking about the gory situation, if I can use that word, it is extremely sad because for me, it makes me begin to imagine me in that situation. I never was in a situation where I couldn't get sanitary pad. And that's when growing up or the formative years. But I know there was a time that this hustle was blowing me one time, and I knew that I couldn't get it for that month, and it was a big deal for me. So which is why initiatives like this really get to me, because people assume a lot that once you're wearing clothes or you're walking around. There was a time I wanted to do something around taking this same sanitary pad distribution to the university, and a lot of people were not understanding where I was coming from. And I'm saying sanitary pad is luxury for a lot of people. You don't understand it. Now you're giving a girl child who is going to school how much? Maybe 20,000 naira for upkeep. I'm not saying you've not done enough, but it's just to show you that there is a gap. Foodstuffs are going high, nothing is getting better, everything is on the rise. You cannot earn more, you're earning the same thing you're earning, and you still have to buy every other thing to survive. So it means that when it comes to sanitary pad, it's almost a luxury to every cadre of woman. It's not just for the person coming out of school, the underserved community. It is actually a big deal. And I remember when we were having another conversation where some guys who we like to call ally, they were trying to see how they can support, and they were telling men to sort of think about trying to buy sanitary pad for women if they can, or even if it's as a birthday gift. Like, you think about it and say, I'm buying you the 12 you need for the year, and that is it. And that 12 will go a long way to ease stress.
It's not everybody that
uses
just people.
I want to even say that. So, do you know that some people have heavy clothes? They can use 3 pads.
Double for 1 month. But at least let's start with the basics.
you know. So for me, I think why this conversation is actually important to have is that, first of all, I want to demystify. I want it to be a normal conversation for guys. Like my sons, they know when I'm on my period. I call them, please go and bring my sanitary pad for me. Deliberately. You understand? Because all those things that you have to do hush-hush, and you have to hide, you have to know. You need to understand that this is what... Because there is no single woman on earth that does not, except maybe there's an abnormality.
There's a medical condition.
There's a medical condition. Every woman should see blood every month. That is the, so, but a lot of times we do these hush-hush things. The guys do not understand the struggle, because sometimes, even for me, I get mood swings. Even I forget I get bad mood swings. I don't want to talk to nobody. Do not come close to me. I mean, when I started getting older, things I never experienced with menstruation, I started having very sore chest. My it's so painful.
When
so
you
don't
say
even
you get older, I'm wondering how old.
No, I'm saying as I'm getting older. And I was in my 20s. I was in my teen. Now I'm in my 30s.
Yeah,
I'm in my 30s. I'm not that old. I'm saying that when I started getting older.
Say you're old. I'm supporting you now. Which guy?
So now you now picture that a girl, especially the ones that have very bad cramps, that they can't even stand up, they have to literally bend to walk. Imagine that girl having to struggle with that. She can't go to school. She's thinking of her grades. So it is actually a big deal. And for every time that we have an opportunity to push these kinds of conversation, we are pushing it so that people would hear and know that these are real struggles that people go through. So it's a big deal.
Even in bringing it back to those that can't go to school, there are people that cannot go to work because of this, and they cannot open their mouth to say I'm going through this, because they feel like they can't talk about it, and the HR will keep punishing them, because if you don't tell them, they definitely wouldn't know, which is why some countries, some states are beginning to think about period leave and all that. Of course, some feminists from some angles are kicking against it, which I don't understand why.
Leave,
but you want to... I mean, there are people who have it that bad.
Really bad.
For me,
okay, go ahead.
It's not that bad for me every month, but I tell people that I cannot tell you what will happen to me next month. Sometimes it is pimples, the other time it is rashes, another time it is I cannot get up. Anything you are talking about, if you like, say you are removing all the money in my account, you'll be all right though, because I cannot move. Like, it comes with different things, different struggles for different months. I don't know if I want to say this on air, because people say that one is very gory, but there was one pain I felt in a particular place one time, and I'm wondering what exactly is going on. And then I had to put it out on Facebook, and people were telling me that it is normal. And I'm like, normal? Like, women are going through a lot, and we should be able to express ourselves. I'm not saying be untidy. I'm not saying just do things anyhow because people around you need to know that you are on your period. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying it shouldn't be a taboo. You shouldn't run away because a conversation about menstruation is going on. Even on this set, when I came into the studio, someone accosted me and said, "Oh, why are we having this conversation? Like, don't you understand that it's going to feel somehow? You have men behind the cameras and all that." I'm like, without this conversation, you cannot be. You are not there. Person cannot be on earth. You are not there. That was exactly what I said. I said, your mother would have had you.
Because we women, we nurture, we're nurturers. We are the incubators for humanity. If we do not menstruate, we can't be that incubator for humanity. And you know what? Let me come back to what you said about higher institutions. You'll be shocked that some girls are tempted to have sugar daddies, and because they need to do this. It's not a tap that you open and close at will. It is something that comes when it wants to come, and it stays. It keeps as long as it wants running until it's done. So there is nothing you can do other than to maintain it. So it is very important. Having said that, when we were starting our own campaign, this initiative, we started it, what if men menstruated?
You know what? Hold that thought. If for good, Abby.
I'm going to do a job for this.
Hold that thought. When we come back, what if men menstruated?
What struggles do they have that
men don't understand?
Yeah.
I want men to call though. When we come back, we'll open our phone line. What if you are menstruated as a man?
I'm
you
not
now understand.
Men,
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, it's our Ladies' Night Out, and we are asking, or we are rather sharing challenges that women and girls are facing, especially as it remains a common struggle amongst our gender as women, right? It's a struggle. So, I love Funke's question before the break. She said, what if men menstruated? So please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So our phone line is now open. Please, when you call, do call us on 07025007749. 07025007749. Please, when you call, turn off the volume of your television. Say, I take God beg you. Da anla da annabi. Biko. Turn off so that we can hear you and you can hear us clearly. Turn off the volume of your television. Now good. All right, so you were going to say something, my dad.
So what if men menstruated? I mean, let's just create scenarios. I'll create mine, you create yours, you create yours, you create. I think if men menstruated, they'll discuss it freely at the beer parlor. Next.
I wasn't ready for that. So you go for what I thought.
Okay, not just at the beer parlor. It will be a normal conversation for everyone. They will have period leave and they will make it a big deal.
Okay. So I think if men menstruated, I'm thinking
they remove VAT.
What has VAT got to do with
menstruation? You know what is playing in my head?
Yeah.
So when I was going to have my child in the hospital, oh God. So this is where I am, right? My first son, they had to call my husband at we're in Plus TV, so let us go to maybe Landmark or where? No, Landmark is too far. Let's go to that one source supermarket. That was where they went to drag him. The baby has come back. He ran that far. He was running, as I was screaming, he was running away. So when the second boy came, and he was closer, at least it was this next junction where they sell corn. That was where they went to catch him. That the baby has arrived. So I'm just thinking that if men go through menstrual cramp, they will be wearing drip every month. They'll put them on drip.
They will set up a ministry for maintenance and managing periods.
I wonder the kind of there'll
be a kind of special fund available for those kind of necessities will become evidently a necessity.
Yeah,
there you go.
And I agree to that because you see this conversation among married people when they talk about, when some men want to talk about their wives, and you see the ones that are really passionate about saying, I respect women, no. I respect
some men
women,
even
no.
bypass
Just know
women.
that,
some
just
men
know that
he has been through labor.
He has been in the labor room. That is when they begin
room.
to understand the struggles of a woman.
And that was just a one-time struggle.
Do you understand? I respect.
Yeah.
So imagine if they can understand the monthly pain.
Feel the pain. They can't understand it because they can't feel the pain. And I think it's about time that men, some civil men really support their women.
Yeah, they do.
Some men will go, they're not ashamed to go buy a sanitary towel, but some men can never be caught dead.
Never.
With your sanitary
No,
material.
I have a gentleman actually.
So the conversation should be that men should be more tolerant of women who are, having their menses. You have daughters, you have aunts, you have mothers. You have girlfriend, side chick, wife, and
everything.
everything. So men should be more tolerant. Men should begin to look at the policy to make it easier for women and girls. Policy in the sense that we need to begin to look at what the Nigerian child benefits from the government. And when we look at that, and then within that context, we then say, can we have one pack of sanitary pads
It makes sense.
for a child in the secondary school in Nigeria?
So the way you say a meal a day,
you should be able to put
so for the girls,
Exactly.
you add a meal plus a sanitary pad
A
month.
Yeah.
So at
They
the
should be able
end
to
of
make
the day,
funding available to catering to females who cannot get pads, or even have some available where they can just go and pick it up.
some pad bank in
Yeah.
school.
Just-
you know, so I
Just
just
where you have
volunteer.
toilet roll in the restroom. I think there should be
When you go abroad,
sanitary
funny
pads
thing is
there.
when you go abroad,
You can find
actually
sanitary
find
towels.
sanitary
Yeah.
pads everywhere, and even the sanitary bag. Because when you're changing,
They don't want you to empty
Yes.
it out in the toilet.
So, I used to volunteer at an NGO, but let me take Ogumbayo from Lagos first. Thank you so much for calling us as our first caller for the evening. Hi, hello.
Thank you very much. My name is Dayo. I'm calling from Lagos.
Thank you, Bayo, for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for this topic. It's something a lot of people shy away from.
True.
I'm happy you ladies are discussing it. And I hope this is the beginning. This is the beginning of creating awareness among men, especially because when one of you mentioned the fact that it's difficult for some men to buy sanitary pads, I was wondering why. But I realized that I have friends that say they are shy or something. I don't know if they are shy or they are scared to go and buy. But it's a good awareness they are creating. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, at what point do women stop menstruating? Because like my wife, that's the only sickness I know about. Presently she's going through it present as a speak. Funny enough. So as soon as the program wanted to start, I called her. I said, they want to discuss about you today. So she requested for the link that she wants to join. So please, at what point do women stop menstruating? That's one. Then the second thing I want to say is, like she said, we should create a scenario. If men menstruated, there will be a ministry of menstruation affairs. Thank you.
Menstruation affairs. Thank you so much, Bayo. It's a Ministry of Menstruation Affairs. Yeah. Let's take some tunes.
We have a message here
on YouTube.
From Ife Dayo. She says, my pain is so severe. I missed exams. I have used drugs, injections, drips. Nothing works. It's over 10 years of being a mother and the pain is still there. Everyone knows when I'm on my period. I don't hide and I can't even hide it because the pain will give me out. And sometimes I take whiskey to ease it.
That's right. A lot of people
So
go
this
through
is
menstrual.
real.
Thank you
It
for
is.
sharing.
Thank you so much,
My
Ifedayo, for
sister
sharing.
admitted in the hospital and take drips just because she's on her period.
Wow.
Yes, it's
Wow.
really, and the painful thing is, some of us are lucky, we don't feel the pain. So sometimes you can't even relate, even as a woman.
I can relate.
So
Hey.
how much less a man who does not understand the psychology of a woman?
Absolutely.
So sometimes it's a struggle. We need to just put out the awareness there, like we're doing right now. The more awareness we create, the more people become conscious about it,
Absolutely.
and then they know that it's okay to support a woman that is seeing a period.
Absolutely. We're having a lot of guys calling today. Austin from Benin, thank you for calling. Let's hear what you have to say.
Oh yeah, good
Oh
evening.
yes, say oh.
Okay, I'm going to be funny a little bit, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So, why are women not calling? Why
Abu-
men?
But we love it that you are calling.
We are talking, women are talking, so we want to hear the men calling.
Okay. Okay, so the truth is that scientifically it has been proven that women are stronger than men.
Thank you.
I'm sure that's why God gave you people that role. Okay? God knows that if it was the other way around, maybe the men would not be able to
Stand up.
they will not be able to cope. I think that's what I can say here. Then let me conclude by appealing to the management of this television station once again that we would like this program to be like 1 hour, 30 minutes or 2 hours, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Austin is always advocating. You sure we want to stay in you know, but thank you so much, Austin, for calling. So, this, I mean, when I listened to Ifedayo's message and what Dami said is so true. I never, ever, when I say I am on my period, I'm not on my period, it doesn't even change anything for me. But when I started, like, just about 3 years ago, all of a sudden, I am feverish, my temperature shoots up, my nipple is so sore, everything is so painful. I'm wondering, like, where did this thing, I never experienced it
some
before.
people get suicidal.
Yes.
Within that, because they have menstruation-induced
Depression.
So they just want to end it all. They're very depressed. You know, as I said earlier, we need men to be more empathetic. And the scary thing is that girls go through this as well. For women, you can handle it, but how does a girl tell you that, mommy, I don't know, I just want to die? How do you process that? How do you begin? So we should pay more attention. We should pay more attention to stigma as well. For example, the girls who go to mixed schools, you see them use cardigan to
tie
around
on their waist.
Because when you see that, just know that something has happened.
That's
and
very
the boys
common.
know. The boys know.
And
so
they mock them.
They're jeering. Yeah.
No, not all boys. Honestly,
Not all
I'm
them,
raising
not all.
champions. So.
Well done.
Oh
Mama.
yes, please. I'm very proud to say that because my children need to understand. My husband actually sat them down and educated them on menstruation because they are teenagers. They would meet their classmates that are menstruating. So you would know once you see a girl is stained. I mean, I've seen guys that will run and give their jackets to the girl that there's something behind you, you know.
Yes.
And again, so it's not. So there's a new generation of guys that are being, you know, that are being groomed now.
I hope
so they know better. You know,
I also,
they know
because there
better.
was a Twitter war sometime. I think 2020, last year, when someone wrote on Twitter that why are women always acting up during their menstruation, it became quite big, quite a conversation.
Just last week, someone said something you see every month. By now, you should have gotten used to it.
Are you kidding me? Where is that person? Let me give him. Austin from Lagos. Wait, let me answer Austin first. Where is that person? From Lagos. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Good evening.
Hi, Austin.
Good evening.
Well, as a secondary school student, I can really relate to the thing that you were talking about, how the girls cope with this kind of thing. Because I personally see them every day as they're like going to school and they're actually bending over, crossing their waist and can't walk. And the thing is that most of the boys, most of the teachers are insensitive to this kind of thing, and it's quite sad because they actually don't care and it really affects their grades and stuff. So me personally, I try to like help them And I don't know whether we can change it because it's a system that is just very, very predominant in a lot of places. So, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much. You raised a very valid point.
Yeah,
that the teachers are not even sensitive that these girls, wow.
Not always. I mean, my team and I were at a Ministry of Education today, and we spoke with some teachers, and they told us there are actually some teachers who take this as their calling. They have their own little pad banks in school. So when the girls, they know the girls who are indigent, so they're free to come. Once they have signs, they give the teachers, and then teachers know that, okay, it's that time of the month. And if they don't have anything, you just go to the teacher and she gives them something. So it's not all the teachers.
So Funke, how can we make this a good and sustainable project? You see, like when you're watching TV, they'll tell you that if you donate £1 per month, it goes to a panda to save a panda and all of that. How can
It's been done that now.
Anike-Ade from Lagos.
What can we put together?
Anike-Ade from Lagos. Let me take a call. Sorry, once we open our phone lines, it's always difficult for us to talk. But let me hear you. Thank you for calling. You're live. Are you there? Anike-Ade from Lagos. Are you there? Did we lose that call? Okay, so
I was saying that this is what we are doing. We have an initiative codenamed 10K for 1+1. If you give us 10,000 naira, we'll give it to a girl for 1 year.
Wow.
So we use that 10,000 naira to buy sanitary pads. Every month we give that girl a sanitary pad for 12 months. It's some sort of pad scholarship, and it's for brilliant girls who are from poor homes.
What about the dull ones? They are all menstruated.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do everything.
So there has to be an incentive.
Yes.
So it pushes them to read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we want to encourage them to remain in school. And you agree with me that many times, most times, is the brilliant one who drop out of school.
Sure.
They're the ones who can't afford to remain in school. The struggle is real for them. So we thought, okay, let's face these ones. Brilliant, but indigent or from indigent
There's
homes.
another angle to menstruation that I would like for us to discuss if it's something that is okay. Post-menstrual hygiene and cleanup.
Yeah, we're supposed to get
We're going there.
We're supposed to get there.
But the
because
time
we're
getting
getting
It's a very serious
Yeah.
conversation to hold. And this cut across, whether you can afford a sanitary towel or you cannot. You know, when I saw this topic today, I said, did you see my post of some days ago?
No.
I actually shot a post where I put out that women should get cloves, soak it in water for 3 days, and wash their VG post and during their menstrual cycle to ease the smell from period.
Right.
And it's not just when you're seeing your period, every other day. It is very, very good. It helps to clean you out, and it helps to tidy up the smell. You know, that uncomfortable smell that we all get to have.
No, we don't all get to have it all. So foul smell comes from over time.
There is a smell.
Yeah, there's a period smell that comes.
That's the one
you're talking about.
Yes, there's a smell that comes post your period that you would not like, even when you're wearing your panty liners and all those kind of stuff. So I did that post. So I thought you had seen that, but I just wanted to put that out there that this is really, really help, and it's something that women should try and get. I mean, the cost of clove is barely 200 naira for a few ties.
Wow.
You drop in water in a bottle of water, leave it for 3 days, it diffuses completely. You can see the water change color. And then you use
it to wash. Wow, okay. So someone says, brilliant discussion. I once had an experience at work when I was dripping and my male friend helped me to wipe off the blood stain on the floor as I rushed to the toilet.
Oh, that's so sweet.
You know, so I mean, guys, like I told you, Funke, guys are actually.
And you happen to be raising one that you're so very proud of.
Yeah, quickly, because we run out of time.
I really want to drop in here the condom versus menstrual pads conversation as well. Why condoms are free and pads are not free. You can get condoms in hotels,
schools, yes, free.
everywhere free, but no for pads. Sex is a choice.
menses is compulsory.
It's not a choice. So then again, we're looking at if men really want to join this movement, they really want to help, they should help push that pads are as available everywhere, in public toilets, in hotels, as condoms. That's one. Secondly, another thing that we are doing at SPMC, Sanitary Pad Media Campaign, is to put out a drama series on radio where we educate, we bring up these scenarios. Our drama series is focused on schools, girls in schools. All the work, stigma, everything, the fact that there are no changing spaces in schools, there are no toilets, there's no water in a lot of schools. Why will I go to school if I'm menstruating and there's no water? You need a lot of water. Why should, okay, we're looking at sanitary pads. Well, what about a shift to menstrual cups? And
what
the fact
menstrual cups?
Menstrual cups are like funnels that you can insert, and it holds the blood. 8 hours is still holding the blood, so you don't need to go up and down. But then there is the conversation.
Have you heard of that?
No. Oh, is there?
Do you ever use that?
I have
not tampons.
It's not tampons. Menstrual cups are different. But if you're going to introduce menstrual cups to schools, then you have to begin to talk about the fact that it does not disvirgin. Yes, you
have to insert it.
You insert, but it does not disvirgin the girl. Because then you run into walls.
Because that's why people are afraid of tampons. Because they feel like it breaks the hymen.
And it does not.
No, it doesn't actually.
It does not. Same thing for menstrual cups.
I don't like tampons.
So this
I find it uncomfortable.
Tampons, cups, these are just stay on pads.
What you're saying just reminds me of when I used to go to volunteer at a foundation called Real Woman Foundation. What we used to do then, there is a segment when we teach them different things. We teach them abuse, we teach them how to paint their vision, we teach them, so there's a segment where we teach them love, sex and dating to when they start to understand the body changes. There's a segment on personal hygiene, and on that segment I used to buy dozens of pads because I have a cosmetic store, so I would just call my suppliers from a particular brand, bring the pads. So we used to take pads to school to give every single girl. We give them pads, we give them things for hygiene, deodorants and all of that. So I mean, if it's something that we really put at the front burner, it's possible, and there are 1,000,001 people that would jump on this initiative. So if they quickly want to find you, where do they find you, the initiative that you're doing? Because a lot of people will say, you know what, I want to sponsor 10 girls every year. I want to sponsor 5 girls every year.
It's a token. Do you know how many people they dole out on social media for nothing,
for
no
nothing,
possible cost? And they have made a lot of people very, very entitled. All they want now is
free money. So because we have like 1 minute to go.
Okay, 1 minute. To get through to me, I have my email is sharingwithtreasure@gmail. My number. My WhatsApp number is going global. 0814-793-7878. That's the number.
0814-793-7878. 7878.
So please reach out and support.
You need to support this cause. But I thank you so much for coming. I think we're going to bring back this conversation.
Not just one child myself, but at least 5 children.
Yay!
Because it's a token. Nice. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot.
It doesn't cost a lot. Thank you so much. So we are going to be doing more of this because this is why Ways was birthed. It's for impact. We're not just here to come and be talking.
Yes.
Thank you, Elsie Godwin. Thank you, Milola. Thank you, Funke. We had an amazing time. All right, so thank you to everyone that called. Sorry for the ones that we couldn't take your calls or messages. So before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. If you want to also partner with Funke on this, just chat us up on Instagram on direct message. We'll get through to her for you. All right, so thank you for believing in the Ways brand. So we're planning a giveaway. We have started one giveaway already. We're doing pad initiative for girls in school. So please support it. It's very important. It is not a luxury. It just happens to us every month. Please. All right, follow us at PlusTvAfrica and like, share, and comment. Invite your friends and family to also follow and join the conversation. So if you missed today's quote, very important quote, here it is again. Menstruation is a fact of life for 2 billion women and girls of reproductive age. Yet, in many places, girls face serious barriers to managing their periods. This is from an unknown source, but If you want to be part of this, please support us. We'll see you live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Ciao.
Bye.